Hey guys, so I have the voice turned off this time, and I'm using my little braille display. So today, we're gonna be watching this monster. Let's just get straight into it. She's at 1.25 because her voice, I can't. And she talks just like Abby Sharp. What's with these Canadians, by the way, and vegans? Like, why are all the vegans Canadian now? It used to be like Australia and the US, like predominantly, but now it seems like it's Canada. No wonder we have crap going on in our country, even worse than probably even the US. Anyways, I won't even get into it. But anyway, here we go.
Hello, my friend. Today I want to share with you my vegan Costco haul for our family of 3. We have lots of healthy and delicious items here. So let's go ahead and get started. If you've seen my Costco hauls before, you know I always like to start with the frozen items first so that I can get them back in the freezer. So up first is this organic berry berry blend. This has been our go-to favorite lately, even though we are enjoying the last few weeks of summer here. And so we are still getting a lot of fresh strawberries and blueberries, which has been very, very nice. But I do always like to have this on hand in the freezer as backup just in case we run out. Life with a 16-month-old, it means we are going through.
Did you catch that? 16-month-old. Let me go back because I do have it playing quickly.
So we are still getting a lot of fresh strawberries and blueberries, which has been very, very nice. But I do always like to have this on hand in the freezer as backup just in case we run out. Life with a 16-month-old, it means we are going
16 months old, people. 16 months. Sick. You are absolutely sick, disgusting, awful. You are the most disgusting human being already. Because did you know that feeding kids vegan diets is actually illegal in some countries? There's a reason for it. Look into it, you monster.
through a lot of fruit right now. And this has actually been her favorite blend. And then of course we do also use this in other things like for...
I don't care. Okay, I would not care so much if this kid was not vegan and she was showing this stuff. But the fact that she's making this kid the kid is actually not vegan. You're making her vegan. You disgusting, abusive monster.
pancake toppings or in our weekly oatmeal. Since there is so much fresh summer produce right now,
Your kid didn't make the choice. Right? I'm even debating when I have a kid. I mean, I'm hoping I can have a kid within the next few years. I was hoping to have one like 3 years ago, but crap happened. I don't know exactly the whole story of what happened because I still had my boyfriend at the time. I didn't know he was that sick in the head. I didn't realize it was to that extent. Yeah, but I was hoping I'd have a kid at least by 3 years ago. So at 26 years old, I wanted to be young because my mom had us relatively late. And I think the 30s is kind of late to have kids, but yeah, the fact that, like, there's a reason veganism is banned for children in some countries. And you know what? The updated paper from the, what is it? American Dietetics Association, they don't even recommend veganism anymore for children. They say nothing about children now. You disgusting, abusive monster. I hope to God your kid at some point gets a taste of eggs and cheese and meat and then comes home and then they have to deal with you and your kid's like, I want eggs, I want cheese, I want meat, I want a burger. Because I guarantee you, your kid would never look back and they will hate you. They won't even really fully understand why they hate you, but they hate you. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. They just won't know how to express it. You monster. You monster. People are going to start accusing you of neglecting or starving your child, and no. It's because you're forcing a malnourishing diet. There's a difference between a carnivore feeding a kid carnivore and a vegan feeding a kid vegan. A carnivore, you don't see this in carnivore kids. In fact, carnivore kids end up smarter than, like, I heard about an 8-year-old that could understand freaking calculus. Was it calculus? Something like that. 8 years old. Nice, grown up, mature. For kids, I wasn't even that matured as an 8-year-old. I wasn't even vegan. But my diet was pretty heavily plant-based, so that's what I blame it on, really.
I've been using a little bit less than usual, but it keeps really well in the freezer, so I don't have to worry about it being there. I just buy it and have it on hand. And then the only other freezer item today, which actually I didn't.
But I'm also not a monster, so you know what I would do? Even if my kid was carnivore, I'd be like, hey, you can have a little bit of this. I would not make them like, I would not force them to be full carnivore, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'd get them, do you want to try a little bit? You know, but if they don't like it, that's fine. I'm not going to be worried about them. I won't panic if they one day want to have some cookies or some potatoes or something. It's not the end of the world, right? But I also want the kid to understand that humans didn't only eat plants. The fact that our diets, even as we're not even vegans, and the kids today are fed on like processed, not even like whole food. It's like processed like carbs, chips, chocolates, like chocolate bars. But again, these chocolate bars have lots of preservatives and soy and all that other crap. And because they're predominantly plant-based, they're getting sick. And very, very early on, too. Very, very early on. They're predominantly plant-based. It's really, really bad. Like, it... And that's... Well, non-vegans have... That's why, though. The non-vegans are eating predominantly plant-based. You idiots. And you're not helping your kid by feeding them vegan. You disgusting, abusive, neglectful monster. You're neglectful because you're neglecting to feed the kid substantially. I do not care if you yourself are vegan, but the moment you start putting it on your kid, I am so sorry, you guys. Don't worry, I'm not making money off your content. But I will get a lawyer if you strike my video. That's a given this time. That's a given this time. I'm going to see how much it is. And if it's not too much, I'm even going to... look, the CNIB actually has a legal counsel thing that you can... Not really counsel. They're not like lawyers. But they can lead me. They might be able to lead me in the right direction. And I'm going to go through them. And I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to see if I can get a copyright lawyer. Because the moment you copyright strike a video, it's not even... Because... This is fair use, me reacting. I'm sorry if you don't like it. But I'm calling you a monster, I'm calling you abusive because you're pushing this on your kid. Start feeding the kid meat, eggs, and cheese, and I won't call you that anymore. Alrighty? I'll appreciate you a little bit better. Don't lie to me in the comments either and tell me, oh, but I do feed my kids meat, eggs, and cheese even though... Don't do it just to make me happy. Do it because you know it's better for the kid.
Get from the freezer at Costco, but I keep this in our freezer once I get it home because pro tip.
See, hear how she sounds like Abby Sharp? Like, listen to the voice here.
For your bread, if you are someone who wants to buy bread at Costco because the price is so much
She says she's in Canada. She says it later in the video. But listen to her voice.
better, but you know that you are not going to go through this whole loaf very quickly, just get it home and put the whole thing in the freezer. I feel like this is such an...
So her name isn't on the video. Her name isn't on here. Maybe she says it at one point in like other videos, but I'm not going to go back and look. I'm not going to look on her channel. I wonder if she's related.
Underrated tip, bread lasts so well in the freezer, you won't even notice that it has been frozen. Basically, whenever you want some bread, you just take out a couple of slices and let them come to room temperature, or just pop them in the toaster and you will have toast ready to go in just a couple minutes. So I got this very large Ace Bakery sourdough bread for our family. We really like bread in the morning. Usually if I make something like tofu scramble, we'll do some toast on the side, or this also makes really great sandwiches, of course. If we don't have any lunch planned and I just need a quick sandwich in a pinch, then I'll have bread ready to go in my freezer at any time. I have been really obsessed with
meat, you don't have to worry about that. Meat, you can just make food and it's done, okay? Like, you don't have to worry about being in a pinch because meat takes 10 minutes to cook up. Bam, done. Then you can eat it. Like, why does everything have to be so quick and, like, urgent? Because you're vegan. At least when you eat meat, when you get hungry, you won't feel like you're dying. You'll get hungry, it'll be annoying, but like, it feels different. I don't know. Even when you get super hungry.
caprese sandwiches right now. I feel like it is the ultimate summer sandwich, so I'm trying to have it.
These sandwiches, are they naturally vegan? Or is she... I also feel like she might be saying it wrong.
Plenty of those before summer is over. And if you haven't seen that one yet, I'll link it down below. It is such a good summer sandwich and so easy, very minimal ingredients. So this is gonna be perfect for that. And then the next fridge item is my other favorite, the organic baby spinach. I pretty much always get this every time I go to Costco because I only go to Costco maybe once a month or once every 2 months. So usually I'll just get like lettuce or kale or something else at the regular grocery store.
Which, by the way, sheep don't even eat. And you're gonna eat kale? Something that even the ruminants do not eat? They avoid it. There's a reason. They probably smell what you don't. They probably taste what you don't. It's disgusting. My mom doesn't even eat kale. And she's no full carnivore either.
My in-between shopping trips, but when I go to Costco, I have to get the baby spinach. This lasts a really long time in the fridge, just as is. You can also do the paper towel hack, which I've talked about before. Just put a piece of paper towel on the top and you can tuck one into the bottom as well. And that will help absorb some moisture and help it last a little bit longer. But even just as is, it should last a couple weeks. With us, it usually doesn't even make it that long because we go through it so quickly. This makes a really good...
Do you know how dangerous that is for the kidneys? Going through it that quickly like that? That is so dangerous. Far too many testimonies from ex-vegans talk about kidney stones. Far too many. It's scary.
Addition to stir fries. I love it in our tofu scramble. Sometimes I'll just chop some up and add it into my salads. Or even if you don't have a lettuce or a green for your sandwich and you want to throw some of this in there, it works really well. And of course, if it's getting to the end of the box and you need to use it up quickly, you can always freeze it and throw it into smoothies. Now this is a fridge item.
Gross. Can you imagine drinking that? Like, when I went to that naturopath and she was drinking that smoothie, there was no sweetness. You couldn't even smell sweetness in there. I can almost guarantee you it was greens. And she's gonna tell me about health? I don't trust any of these people anymore. I don't even trust doctors. It's so hard. Who do I find? Who do I trust? I'll trust a doctor in an urgent situation, like if I'm in an accident or if I have a really bad infection. But other than that, beyond that, just a simple, routine blood work, I don't even trust. Don't even trust.
That I have not bought in a while. I actually was buying the dried dates that come in the regular pantry section of Costco, but these are the fresh version that come in the produce section. So I usually just keep them in the fridge to help them last longer. And they are a bit different from regular dried dates.
Of course they are. They are dried dates, the ones you usually get. So yeah, they're gonna be freaking different. You disgusting idiot monster.
Are a lot more juicy and the texture is just really a lot nicer than dried dates. And I would even say
you got that stupid smug voice too, and I freaking hate it. You disgusting, repulsive monster.
the taste is really much better on these. It's a lot more like caramel. And of course, dates are so good for you. They really help with sweet cravings. If you like a little afternoon or evening sweet treat, but you're trying to maybe watch your calories, try a couple dates. I like them either stuffed with a walnut or you can stuff them with a little bit of peanut butter. I've done a chocolate dipped version. I'll link that video down below as well in case you want to check that out. It makes such a nice dessert. It's really elegant, but really simple to make. But these are just really nice to have on hand for things like snacking, but also I like to use them in energy balls. I'm gonna start making those with my daughter. I think she will really enjoy eating them and making them with me. So it's...
You think. You know what your daughter really wants? Eggs, cheese, and meat. She doesn't even know that that's what she wants. you don't even know. If she's miserable all the time, maybe sleepy all the time, grumpy all the time, screaming for food all the time, don't tell me she isn't. Or maybe she is the opposite. Maybe it's because her body is saying, we're about to give out. Maybe she doesn't realize it because she's so young. But maybe she's all low energy and tired and not really hungry because her body just doesn't want food anymore because none of this stuff is good. She can't digest it anymore. But more than likely it's the other way around. And she's super hungry because you don't give her anything. She's not a cow. She doesn't have a rumen. She doesn't have the other 3 chambers to her stomach. Like, disgusting.
Be a fun little project for us. And then up next, I actually had to open this already.
Dang it. I had to sneeze and it went away. And you know what I was gonna do? Pretend that I was sneezing it all over you.
For a little afternoon snack for myself and my daughter. She is having a hummus obsession. It is so cute. Every time I cut.
Oh yeah, she's probably having the other thing. And hummus, too much of it, and your stomach will blow up, and then everything will just fall out, then you'll be hungry again.
Her lunch plate, she always asks for hummus. She'll be like, hummus, hummus. So I had to open this one for her. This hummus is such a good price.
What is with all the cuts? You can tell. What is with all the cuts? You can hear how, like, her words just kind of jump into each other sometimes. And even on normal speed, you can pick that up. So, like, it's not just because I have her fast. Like, you hear it when you hear it at normal speed, too. There's so many jumps. So many jumps. I get it if you're just rushing off to go grab something, cutting it, and then coming back. But, like, cut after cut after cut after cut after cut.
Costco. I remember a friend of ours telling me that he actually did the math on how much he saves just in hummus costs cover his Costco membership, which is a really fun way to look at it. If there's something that you buy a lot of, maybe add it up for your whole year and see if getting a Costco membership is actually worth it. Because even though you do have to pay that annual fee, there are some things that you do end up saving a lot of money on. So this is a really great one to have in the fridge. It is definitely a convenience item. If you do have time to make your own, it's of course going to be healthier. But if you don't have time and you just want a pretty healthy snack, this has protein, it has fiber, and it just makes a really nice spread on things like salmon.
Do you hear how many times she takes a breath? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Insane.
Which is if you want something like an alternative to avocado or mayonnaise, you can always sub with hummus. Now the last of our fridge items is this big.
Maybe that's all. Maybe that's what the cuts are. Like she's really struggling to catch her breath. Oh, really short of breath today. But she doesn't want that part in there.
Box of peaches. I was so excited to see this at Costco. The peaches have been so good in Toronto right now. If you are in Ontario and have not gotten the
See? Toronto, Ontario. Canada. What is with these Canadians?
peaches yet this year, go out and get some. They have been so good.
I'm ashamed to be Canadian right now.
Even the regular ones that I get at No Frills have been really, really tasty. They're quite small, so I'm hoping that these are just as flavorful because they're much, much bigger. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like the small ones are more flavorful than the big ones, but I'm excited to dive into these. These are so good just for breakfast. Like obviously we just have some cut fruit in the morning, but I also really love these thinly sliced on a slice.
That's it? Just cut fruit. You said you make tofu scramble, so does that mean some mornings you don't even make that? And you just have cut fruit? Do you know how depriving that is? Even just for you. Do not lie to me and tell me you are not hungry after that, because I know you are. You want more after that, don't you? You make tofu scramble because you know you really deep down want eggs. You want eggs. Don't lie to me about climate change and animals and all this crap. Don't even lie. Don't lie. Circle of life, honey. Grow up.
Piece of sour.
You're younger than your frickin' baby right now. Because if you think that if you can't stand the thought of killing animals, too bad. People are killing animals every day. Other animals are killing other animals every day. Grow up, you little newborn. You're probably a newborn in mentality right now. You don't want to watch. You can't. You're screaming and crying because you can't. You can't watch it. It's too scary.
With a little bit of vegan cream cheese, and then these on top.
See, you want cheese. Come on, just eat the real thing at this point.
It is such a delicious breakfast. You can even do your own.
You know, a lot of the food poisoning cases are actually from plants. A lot of them. A lot of them. I'm not saying all of them are, but I'm very certain most of them are. Like, I had food poisoning from mayonnaise. Guess what mayonnaise is mostly made of? It's mostly made of a bunch of plant stuff. And you know what happened? More than likely, it oxidized. Yeah. Anyway.
Tofu ricotta instead if you wanted to make it a higher protein breakfast, but just so good. Now, I mean, obviously this is a lot of peaches here. So actually what I like to do, because I don't want them to all be ripe at the exact same time.
I don't care how you close all these up, but like how does just putting them in a produce bag and putting them in the fridge help? Because that's what she says she does here.
Too many peaches to eat unless you're gonna make something like a peach pie. But what I will usually do is put almost all of these, like 3/4 of these, into a produce bag, then into the fridge. And that will keep them from ripening further until I'm ready. So I leave about 3 or 4 out on the counter to ripen. And then after 1 or 2 days, I take out a couple from the fridge and add them to my fruit bowl.
Gross, warm peaches. I don't know what it is, but I just hate warm fruit, except for bananas. I don't mind warm bananas, but I don't like warm fruit, really.
And then after a couple more days, I add 1 or 2 more. And that way you have this like ongoing cycle of ripe peaches, and you never have to worry about them all being ripe at once and having too many that you don't know what to do with. This just keeps the perfect amount ripe at one time. Up next is this very large bag of mini potatoes. I almost never get potatoes. I don't get a lot of produce at Costco, to be honest, but especially things like potatoes, I just find the quantity very large. And things like potatoes are harder to store for me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe our house is really warm, so I find that they always start to sprout. And you're not supposed to keep potatoes in the fridge, so it really drives me crazy. But I do have very specific plans on ways to use up pretty much all of these potatoes within this week. I'm gonna do a big meal prep, and then once they're cooked, you can store them in the fridge or the freezer. So that's my plan for these. I'm going to do a lentil stew that I'm hoping my daughter will like as well.
You're hoping because you know your daughter is picky, because she has never had a taste of meat or cheese or eggs in her life. With all the crap that's coming out about vegan children, I will not be shocked when somebody at your daycare says, we're not going to feed your child vegan. We're not going to let that happen. No, she's going to eat meat while she's here, and I don't care what you say. She will eat what we serve, okay? And that will be meat. If we have meat, we're serving meat. That's it.
Some simple, just home fry style potatoes. I think that will be nice with our tofu scramble. And then my husband also really likes this kimchi stew that I usually put these small potatoes in. So I'm going to do a big pot of that for him. So like I said, if you do have plans to use them up pretty quickly, then it's a great deal at Costco, like price-wise. You just gotta make sure you're organized with your prep for the week. Up next, a staple that I have not gotten for a long time. I had really stocked up on these steel cut oats and rolled oats a couple months ago. So I was set on oats for a while, but we finally have run out. We eat steel cut oats pretty much every morning, Monday through Friday. I know it's super boring.
Even you know it's boring. I'm not bored with what I eat. Not like that.
Even my husband has told me, he's like, I might be getting tired of oats because he's been eating it the same breakfast for like 15 years, even before he met me. But it is just a really simple, quick, and easy, and most importantly, inexpensive breakfast to make. Plus, it's really, really healthy. So this is just our go-to breakfast.
And more claims, guys. You hearing this? It's really, really healthy. Since when? Since when? My friend gained more weight when she started eating oats. What are you talking about? Well, she's not my friend anymore because she started eating her normal way again after like maybe a year of doing a really good diet. You could tell the energy was draining from her again. You could tell. And I just dropped the friendship with her because she was an energy vampire at that point, just dragging me down with her. Like, you could hear in her voice just how low energy she was. And I even said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore until you fix your life. Because not only did she have a crap did she return to her crap diet, but she was letting people at 40 years old control her life. She's 40 years old, people, and she was letting these people control her life. So I said, you're 40 years old. Get your friggin' life together at this point. Like, I did. I was only 24 when I moved out of my parents. 24 years old. You can have other family help you out. Send out emails. Do something. But nope. 41 years old. And this biatch decided to is probably still deciding to let that, because I haven't heard from her since. So
breakfast, I meal prep a big batch on a Sunday night, and then we eat it for the next 4 or 5 days, just reheating it in the morning with a little bit of soy milk, and then of course adding some fresh fruit to make it a little bit tastier. So the price on this has gone up a little bit at our Costco, but
I bet you all the stress you feel, it's so much work prepping all of this. All of the stress you're feeling. How do you manage it all? How?
the amount is so large. It is what, 6.5 pounds of steel cut oats. So it does last us a pretty long time, even eating it pretty much every day for breakfast. And with our steel cut oats, we usually like either chia, flax, or hemp, or sometimes a little combo of the three. It's really just a great way to supercharge your breakfast in the morning. And these I've also been...
They really don't do crap for you because there's so many other vegans who do this and they still end up looking deficient. And the only reason their blood work shows that their proteins are fine is because that's exactly what the body's trying to do. It's pulling protein from other places. And that's also why they get the people criticizing them, telling them they look skinny. Telling them they're losing their hair and they look skinny. That's why a lot of vegans get that, is because their body's pulling the protein out of their freaking bones and muscles. Like, hello? Hello? Obviously. No, but they just don't eat enough. They do. They do. And then the ones that do look relatively okay, maybe their protein, maybe it happens in other ways for them. Maybe they get the little gut. Regardless, it's really bad, and you guys can't seem to get it through your head because you don't take in the proper B12 and the proper fats.
Giving it to my daughter when she eats things like vegan yogurt, or I'll even sprinkle some in her oatmeal or her applesauce. She doesn't even notice them. So of course they're a really good source of omega-3 and omega-6, but these are also a good source of protein. For 3 tablespoons, which isn't that
Shut up with the friggin' claims.
much, it's already 10 grams of protein and some healthy fats, which is good for babies.
Because it's fake science. They're not real claims.
And because it is such a large quantity, once I open it, I store it just in either the fridge or the freezer to help it.
None of it's true. When all the vegans have done this, and like 99% of them, especially I'm gonna raise it to 90%. Because I was gonna say maybe like 84%, but I'm gonna raise that to 90. So I said 99 originally, then I was gonna say, okay, maybe more like 84, but I'm gonna say 90 now. So 90% of all vegans quit, okay? This is why. They've tried it all. Just like I've tried all the plant-based versions. Guess what? Still ended up low ferritin.
Last a little bit longer, but if you have a cool place in your house like a pantry, then this will be fine in there. Speaking of pantry items, the next item is blueberry jam. Now, I was so excited that this brand is back.
You got all that fruit and you're gonna buy jam? Lazy MFer and a disgusting, neglectful monster. Neglecting your child's need for meat. Real meat and cheese and eggs and milk. Yogurt. Monster.
At our Costco, because this one is actually no added cane sugar. I think they use sugar from like juice concentrate, which is a little bit different. So there is obviously still sweetener in here, but it is a little bit healthier in terms of jams, and they don't...
Right. Said no true sugar expert ever.
Always have it at our Costco, so I was very excited to see it today. Now, the healthiest option would, of course, be to make your own. Since there is so much summer produce right now, if you have time and you see some strawberries, blueberries, or raspberries on sale, you can always just simmer them on the stove with a little bit of chia seeds. You can add a splash of maple syrup in there if you want to or not. It really is such a simple homemade recipe. I just personally don't have time to homemake things like I used to, so in this...
No, you're vegan. And that's all you rely on is vegan crap. That's the only reason.
Since I'm opting for convenience. These pretzel crisps, I'm sure I have mentioned in other Costco hauls before. They are my absolute favorite with the hummus that I showed you guys. They make such a good snack combo, although these are...
Like, this is insane. Like, I don't even buy a whole big load of stuff like this for my diet. This is ridiculous.
Also really good with peanut butter or with chocolate. Sometimes I do homemade chocolate bark and you can use these as the mix-in, and it just makes a really nice sweet and salty combo. I love the crispness and thinness of these. It does make them really perfect for dipping and also just really great for snacking. Plus, they were on sale.
Why do we need to dip and snack stuff? Why? Why? Why do we need to do that every day? Why?
So even though I did not technically need them, I could not resist the sale price, and I'm sure they will get
We don't need to be snacking every day either. We don't need to be doing that. Nobody needs to be doing that.
eaten within the next 6 months. So happy to have these on hand in my pantry. And then my last few items, I got really caught up in the spice aisle at Costco. I almost walked away with like $60 worth of spices before I had to like check myself and realize maybe don't need all those spices. They do get kind of pricey. I was surprised. A lot of them are around like $8 or $9. I mean, they are a large quantity, but I maybe don't need a large quantity of all those other ones. So I just stuck to some basics that we always use. The Everything Bagel is of course a classic. I think Trader Joe's invented this. At least they're the first ones that I ever saw carrying that seasoning. But since
We don't have a Trader Joe's in my area of Canada, at least that I know of. We definitely don't have a Costco. I would go to Costco if I had one close by, but we don't, unfortunately. I hear they do have some good stuff. Yeah, I do hear they have some good stuff. I'd like to go. Maybe my mom will take me one day to, where was it she had to go to find a Costco? Was it Moncton? I forget, but yes, that would be, yeah. I would like to go to see what they have. Maybe they got some really good, like, carnivore options over there, too.
we don't live near Trader Joe's anymore, I have to opt for the Kirkland one, which looks pretty much the same. You can actually do your own. It's really easy if you have all the ingredients. Just sesame seeds, salt, garlic, onion, and poppy seeds. So very, very basic, but we go through this very quickly on avocado toast.
And I'm talking Canadian Costco. I don't mean, like, American, because Americans have it, too, right? So, but... And maybe certain states would be different, and certain provinces would be different, so I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe one day I'll get a chance. Maybe one day. That seems more realistic than me getting a guy and having kids at this point.
And it also just makes a nice topping to other things. Probably my favorite use besides avocado toast is on salads. It just makes a really nice topping after you do your dressing. You get these little salty, crunchy bits, and it's just so, so good.
Because you want bacon bits. That's what you really want. Bacon bits. Get the real frickin' bacon and stop feeding your kid like this. You disgusting monster. And I'm gonna call you a monster because vegan diets are actually illegal in some countries if you are feeding them to your kids. It's not, like, the adults, fine, you can be vegan as an adult. But kids, it's banned. Kids are not allowed to be vegan. Like, it's illegal. All right? In some countries. And the moment you get accused of, like being abusive to your kid by actual family, ooh, it's on. It's on. A vegan diet is abuse, by the way, to a kid, because you're not even letting them try meat. You're not letting them try eggs. You're not letting them... Look, I'm not going to be like that as a carnivore. I'm going to let my kid try stuff. Okay? Like, come on.
And then granulated onion, a super basic one that I had just run out of. I feel like garlic and onion are the go-to spices in my kitchen anyway. So I always just get the large jars of these and then I refill my smaller ones that I keep in my spice rack. And then the last one, this one was an impulse buy. They were too irresistible. So this is the one that I decided, okay, I'm going to test this one and see if it's any good. So this is the smoked paprika and onion. So I am fresh out of regular smoked paprika, which is a great spice to have on hand if you don't have any. It adds a very delicious smoky flavor to your recipes. So I didn't see anything that's just like a plain smoked paprika like that. So I went for this one instead, which does have a little bit of extra salt and onion in there. So we'll probably give it a nice little extra flavor boost. But yeah, I'm excited to try these out. Actually, let me know in the comments if there are any spices that you have found at Costco that you think are exceptional and worth buying. And also just let me know how this Costco haul compares to what you guys have in your local Costco. I always love to see the differences in stores and what is carried where. And then of course, if you are looking for those other recipes like the chocolate covered dates or caprese sandwich, those are linked down below. So go check those out.
Chocolate covered dates sounds actually very, very easy. You just dip them in. Dude. So that's it. That's it. Yeah, this is a monster. I'm I'm sure her husband is no better. Yeah. And the kid is going to resent her one day. I know it. Because the kid is going to get out on their own. They're going to be drinking milk and eating meat. And cheese and eggs. And yogurt. Real yogurt. And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, you're the worst mom ever because I tried meat. You told me it was going to be bad for me and that I'd get really sick, but I didn't. The heck's wrong with you? The kid's going to eat it and feel like they're flying high. They're going to love it. A kid wants to feel like that. They want to feel happy and energetic, and they don't want to be lazing around all the time. They're going to see other kids too, non-vegan kids. They're going to be like, why are these kids so energetic? And if you happen to live in one of those communes where it's only vegans, you watch all the kids lazing around too, and they might think it's normal, but what about when they grow outside of that and they want to leave the commune? Are you even going to let them? That's beyond abusive if you don't let your kid hang out with non-vegans. Beyond. Then you're just sadistic and even worse than I thought. I would almost... Anyway. I don't even know what I was going to really say because I can't, I don't. But yeah, you deserve being called a monster because your kid didn't choose to be vegan. Just like my kid isn't choosing, when I have a kid, they're not going to be choosing to be carnivore because I'm going to let them try other things. And if they choose to be full carnivore, I don't like the potatoes. I don't like the peas. I don't like the carrots. I don't like the fruit. It's too much. Fine. I'm not going to panic. You know why? Because humans only have 2 essential macronutrients. Amino acids and fatty acids. Carbs are non-essential. Non-essential. And don't you dare try to choke me. Yeah, I nearly choked. You deserve the spiel. Okay? Oh, and this time I do have somebody I can go through. I finally found somebody. So, copyright strike me, and I'm going to go through them, and they're going to help me find the resources, and then I'm going to contact the necessary people and see how much it is to get a copyright lawyer so I can send my appeal to the copyright lawyer. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now that I know CNIB has that program, it just launched this year. Now that I know, you better believe it. I'm going to go through them, and pretty soon, copyright lawyer incoming. Anyways, guys, that's it for this. I will see you in the next one. Later.